Today is Monday, February 12th of 2024. We did several trades today. One in our small account, as you see up top here, and the rest in our larger account. So above the blue line, we have our cover call in CPB. We rolled the February 16th $45 cover call out to March 15th and kept the same strike price. It got 35 cents per share for that. So one thing I want to point out is that Campbell Soup is supposed to announce earnings during this next cycle. So the option expires on March 15th. As of right now, I don't think it's been confirmed yet, but it's supposed to announce earnings right before the option expires. However, the only other alternative was to exit the position, which we didn't want to do. We're okay being in Campbell's through earnings, although it has been volatile. Notice over the past couple of years that it experienced a 32% decline. Since then, it had an advance of around 16%, and presently it's up about 7% from its low going back into the end of last year. But we were able to collect a decent little amount of premium there, and we got our cover call rolled out, and then we'll kind of see what happens through earnings. If it gets called away at 45, that'll be just fine. That's where we initiate this cover call at, with the $45 cover call strike price, so that'll work out just fine. If not, then we'll just continue to collect premium and collect dividends if we own it through the ex-dividend date. Next one is we bought to close. We're moving on to our larger option trading account. Bought to close the STZ February 16th 240 cash put option for 29 cents per share. So STZ, it's not scheduled to announce earnings during March, but we wanted to close this out. We got most of our profit. We will look to go back in. I'm kind of curious to see what happens in this area here. It kind of pushed through this red 200 moving average. I am willing to go into a new cash put option position in it. If we draw a little line here, we see it is right at an area that should serve as support for it. So we just as well could have gone ahead and closed out the February by selling the March or rolling that position, but we didn't do that. Nice big update today, 1.87%. So it meant that premium was pretty much all gone in that option. So we'll look to enter a new position in STZ, and maybe sooner rather than later if it does come back down a little bit. All right, the OTEX, a new position that we entered today. We sold to open the OTEX March 15th 40 put option, bought the 30 put option for protection, and got 65 cents per share for that bullish put credit spread. Now looking up top here, don't really see that OTX has really gone anywhere. Going all the way back here, let's see, that was the end of November, around Thanksgiving time. Really hadn't gone anywhere. Kind of been stuck in that little range there. And we see what it's done now in this daily chart, the bottom right chart. It had a nice advance. It advanced, what was that, around 12.5%, 13%. Spiked up, I believe that was earnings day. Came down, found support right around that $40.50 area, and then it did go up throughout the day, but now it's kind of come back down, settling around that $40.50 area, which stocks tend to do that a lot. If they have a big drop down, they will tend to kind of go up and then come back down. Now see it's finding support again around that $40.50 area. We sold the $40 strike price, so just below there. That's also coincided with the area that it found support around in the middle of January, and then going back into early January, the same thing, going back into December. So an area that should serve as support for it because it has multiple times, but that support may be a little lower than our strike price. Maybe down here around 39.5, which would also coincide with this red 200 moving average. But overall, a company I like. Do notice there was a big spike in volume. However, the volume has declined. It's back down to average. Today was a little bit above average, and it was a big red down day, closed pretty much right around the low of the day. But that big volume from a week and a half ago has declined. So we'll see what happens, see if it continues to hold. If it does, we'll look to add to this position if at all possible. One little reason to be cautious here is look at the longer time frame here. Now we're going all the way back into October of 22 when the downtrend reversed in OTX, and since it's been an uptrend on this weekly chart, making higher highs and higher lows. We see it just made another higher high. This was the previous wave's high, what made just a barely higher high. If you figure the leg there, then it made a nice higher high than the previous wave. See, it made a higher low here. So the question is, will it come back down to make a higher low right in this area, which would put our 40 put option pretty far in the money by a little over 10%. So I'd put it around 35.5, somewhere in there. So there is some risk with this. However, it is a company I believe is somewhat undervalued, so I'm okay trading in it. Trading in a little more aggressive than normal, but we do see that the area it's at is at this green 50 and red 200 moving average on this weekly chart. However, we've seen nice, big, strong volume over the past couple weeks. But part of that volume was buyers buying it up, sellers selling it down, and vice versa. So we'll see what happens with it. We can't add to this if given the opportunity. I think Comcast, we added to our position here. We sold the CMCSA April 19th 40 put and bought the 30 put for protection. Got 66 cents per share for that. So we did look at doing the March, but the April had a nice return and not supposed to announce earnings until after that expiration day, April 19th, although this has not been confirmed yet, so that could actually ease back before our expiration date, which we don't want. But I did like the return, and as of right now, they're saying they'll announce earnings around April 25th, so we'll see if that comes to fruition. But in any case, remember we sold the 40 put option, so we're actually pretty far below where it was trading at today. See, it was trading around that $42.50 area. So Comcast could drop about $2.50, $2.60, or about almost 6% before it's challenged. I noticed that over the past couple of weeks, there was big downward pressure. It declined right around 12.5%. Pretty good volume. But over the past couple of days, we see that volume's kind of reversed, and now we see buyers in control. But they did not show as much strength as the sellers. So do have opportunity for weakness here to continue. Notice it did make a lower low, although it made a higher high. So we continue with these kind of conflicting signals sometimes as the market figures out which direction it's going to go. But overall, I like the company. We have room for it to come down. It's right around an area that served as support for multiple times. We see back here in December, early December. Also back here in early November. It served as support around this $41.50 area. Now looking over at our weekly chart, we see that it's kind of dropped in its upward sloping channel. So it wasn't a nice upward channel. That broke right in here. We see it found support around this low from back in here. And now it's kind of forming a new upward sloping channel, but below the one I was trading in going back into 2022. So the question is, will it hold? Well, right now we've made a lower low. If you look at this candle from last week compared to about a month ago, big volume. Some of that was buyers buying it up, but big selling pressure. So we'll just have to see if it holds. We can't add to this position. I do like the company. I do believe it's undervalued right now, and I like the opportunity we have here with these options. All right, then two more positions we bought to close out. We bought to close the KR February 16th 44 cash care put options for 6 cents. I believe we still have several of the 45s left to close out, and we'll look to do that. And the reason is that it's supposed to announce earnings early March. So we want to try to avoid that if possible. Then also GPC, we bought to close the GPC February 16th 135 puts for 50 cents per share. You might notice that's higher than what I typically will buy them back at. But the reason is that it's announcing earnings here later this week. So we had a nice premium. I believe we sold these for $1.14 per share. So had potentially exit this trade and pocket over 50% profit. And the other reason I decided to do it is that although it's in a nice upward sloping channel here on this daily chart, do see it's running up against the red 200 moving average. But the biggest reason is earnings. I want to try and avoid earnings if possible. The hourly chart's looking good. Even the weekly chart's looking pretty good. We see a little bit of a higher low and higher high action here, but it is stuck between the green 50 red 200. So will the earnings give it enough steam to bust through the green 50 or through the red 200? Well, we'll see. I do like the company Genuine Parts, and I like to trade options in it, but right now I don't want to trade options through earnings. So we'll let earnings pass by and see when we have another opportunity to go back in with our earnings. So that's all for today. I hope you have a great evening.